Hey, welcome to today's video. This is about hygiene and sanitation. Sanitation is one of the most important parts of makeup and makeup application, but it is often overlooked by a lot of people. You should always be working under the assumption that everyone, including yourself, has something that can be passed on to others. Just because you cannot see it doesn't mean you don't have it, right? Okay. Now, this doesn't mean you should immediately wrap yourself in bubble wrap and stay away from all people forever. It just means practicing good hygiene and proper sanitation on all of your materials. So let's start with my personal favorite, basic hygiene. Things to remember about doing makeup. Wash your face, right? You want to wash your face in the morning. You want to wash your face at night. Washing your face will keep it free of dirt and it will keep it free of oils that build up over time so that your makeup will look and blend much better when you apply it. Washing your face after you do makeup will, of course, remove all of your makeup, and so you will not end up with lots of breakouts. You won't end up with clogged skin. And so this just kind of helps keep your face, which you can think of as your canvas, being a little bit healthier, right? Okay, the other thing, wash your hands. Wash your hands every time you do makeup. Wash before you start. If you are in a location where you cannot wash your hands, use hand sanitizer. Your personal makeup kit should always have a little bit of hand sanitizer in it, some kind of travel size hand sanitizer. That goes for all of you who are performers. That goes for anybody who thinks they might be applying makeup to another human. You want hand sanitizer available. You want soap available. Even keeping a little bit of face cleanser handy is going to help you. Okay. One of the other things that we should talk about too is washing your face at night, right? Before you go to bed. If you lay down with a face full of makeup, a face full of the day's dirt on that pillowcase, it does not matter if you wake up the next morning and wash your face, because you will eventually come back to that same dirty pillowcase covered with your old makeup, your old oils, that dirt from yesterday. You're going to add new dirt and oils to it, and then you're going to lay down on it, and all of that is going to absorb back into your skin. So I cannot stress enough, wash your face, wash your hands, hand sanitize. These are all good things, right? Really basic hygiene. It feels like I shouldn't have to say it, but I have found over time that it's a really good idea to repeat this idea and make sure that you hear it again and again and again. All right, let's move on. After you wash your face, you want to moisturize. Moisturizing your skin not only keeps your skin healthy, not only helps prevent wrinkles in the long term, things like that, who cares? No, moisturizing your skin at least 20 minutes to an hour before you apply your makeup is going to actually help create a barrier on your skin, between your skin and the makeup. So what's going to happen is the makeup will have a surface to sit on. So A, it's going to blend better, and B, your skin isn't absorbing all of that oily cosmetic into its surface, right? Your skin is porous. That's the nature of skin. So if you don't put a barrier between your skin and the makeup, then eventually your skin is sucking that makeup in and sucking it into its pores. This can actually change the way that your makeup looks, but it also makes it a lot harder to put your makeup on effectively. Let's talk about sanitizing our makeup and tools. This is really the area, like face washing, moisturizing, yes, those are all really important and you should absolutely do them. Washing your hands, super important. I'm going to say it 1,000 times. Wash your hands, use hand sanitizer. But sanitizing your makeup and your tools, this is the part where people really fall down, right? Especially if you only use those tools on yourself and you're not necessarily a professional makeup artist, you don't think about the fact that it doesn't matter that you're not using those tools on somebody else. You might have had an infection or a bacteria or have come into contact with something throughout the day, because that happens all the time. And then you used a makeup brush on yourself, and now it's in that makeup brush. And the thing about makeup brushes is that they're holding on to an oily cosmetic sometimes, or they get wet. So all of that bacteria, all of that stuff that came into contact with the makeup brush, it's still in there and it's still growing. That's gross, right? That's really gross. So sanitizing is really important, and it's not just your makeup brushes, it's actually your makeup. That should be sanitized as well. Brushes are the biggest culprit when it comes to growing bacteria and other things like that, but your makeup still holds on to stuff, and it traps dirt and it traps oils. It can even trap skin flakes. So it's just a really good idea to get into the habit of sanitizing your items. So we're going to go over that and go over some of the things that I really like to use. And we all have this really kind of not so amazing but passable Ben Nye makeup kit, right? This is what we use at UNCG, and so I'm going to kind of go through how we work with some of these items and how sanitization applies to your kit. First of all, your kit comes with a cosmetic wedge, right? One of these little non-latex sponges. These are disposable. These should not be reused, as far as I'm concerned, under any circumstances, because you can never get all the way inside them. Even if you wash them, moisture is sitting on the inside, which means bacteria and mold and mildew are growing on the inside. So when you're done using one of these, throw it away. This is why I tell you to go ahead and purchase extra non-latex wedges. You can find them at any grocery store. You can find them at any Sally Beauty Supply. You can order them from Amazon. I don't care where you get them. They are widely available at the Dollar Tree. That's where I get them. But it's a disposable item. Don't use it again. Use it for one makeup application, be done, okay? That simple. Don't even try to sanitize it. Next, you have a powder puff. These are actually washable. You can wash these. They can be washed in a machine, although if you wash them in a machine, you want to actually put a safety pin in them. So you would take a safety pin and actually run that through the center of the powder puff. So, sorry, wig hair. So that little safety pin is right there in the middle of the powder puff, and it goes all the way through to the back side, right? So you have that little safety pin in there. This will keep the interior of the powder puff from moving and shifting around so that you can actually still use this after you wash it. Then you can just throw it into the wash and put it, you can even run it through the dryer like this and it'll be completely clean. You can also hand wash these, and we will talk a little bit about hand washing here. My favorite thing to deep clean your materials, Dawn dish soap, right? This stuff's amazing. It's designed to take oil and cut through grease and do all of that kind of cleaning work. So why wouldn't it work on makeup, which is oily and greasy by nature? I use this on brushes too. So if you're going to use this to clean a powder puff, you're just going to get your powder puff wet, lukewarm water, put a little Dawn dish soap on it, and then you're going to work that into your powder puff, wherever the makeup is, and just kind of clean that all up and then rinse it out. You want to make sure you rinse really thoroughly. Once you've rinsed it out, let it air dry, it's fine. Same thing, you have these brushes in your makeup kit, right? So in between colors and different usages, one of the things you can do with your brush, you can just take, let's say I have a disinfectant wipe right here, and I can just wipe my brush off on a disinfectant wipe. I can run it through some brush cleaner. I can even take a spray bottle of alcohol and I can spray it down with the alcohol. This is my spray bottle of alcohol, but you can use a tiny spray bottle. You can have a little dish that just has some 70% alcohol and swish your brush in it. You want to use 70% rubbing alcohol, okay? Anything higher than 70%, it evaporates too quickly and it's not sitting on your brush, it's not sitting on the powder puff, it's not doing any of the things it's supposed to be doing because it's evaporating off super quickly. If you use the 70%, it lingers a little bit longer and then it actually disinfects. And that's our goal, is to disinfect, right? So to wash my brushes, little Dawn dish soap. I hold my brush like this in a stream of lukewarm water. You don't want to use hot water. Hot water can actually destroy the glue that's keeping the bristles in your brush, so it's not worth it. So run it through some lukewarm water, put a little of your handy Dawn dish soap in your palm like this, and then you are going to take your brush and you're going to swish it through and work that soap in and start getting, you'll see the makeup coming out of the brush. Like, it'll be really gross. Surprisingly gross, depending on what color you used. And so you get all that swished around in your palm, and then you're going to rinse really, really thoroughly in the water. If you think you haven't gotten all the makeup out, go ahead, do it again. Wash, rinse, repeat, right? Totally fine. What I do, particularly because I am a professional makeup artist, and so I use my brushes on a lot of people, right? What I do after I have washed and gotten my brushes taken care of, I actually do mist them. Get my mister going here, right? With a little bit of alcohol, and then I lay everything out on a towel and I let it air dry. You can heat dry your brushes, but again, that's going to start breaking down the glue that is holding the bristles inside. So just assume that this deep cleaning of your brush with the Dawn dish soap should happen at least once a week, and just lay your brushes out on a towel and let them dry overnight. Okay. Okay, so now the eye pencil. This is the eye pencil that comes in the little Ben Nye kit. This one is nice and fresh, has never been used, but let's say that I did use it, right? This comes up and it actually touches my eye area. The eye area, much like the nose, there are mucous membranes. And so what happens is that that's actually almost like an open portal to your body. It's a great way for infection to get in there. That's why eyes are so prone to things like pink eye, styes, and various eye irritations. So you really, really want to keep your pencil clean, right? So, oh, sorry guys, this was really awkward for me. Anyway, to clean one of these pencils, what you want to do after you've used it. After you've used one of these eye pencils, don't put the cap back on it. Make sure the cap just stays right here on the end of your pencil so that you don't lose the cap. But what you also want to do is not get any surface, like the tip of the pencil, in contact with that cap of that pencil. Because then what happens? Oh, you've just put a contaminated item inside a clean item, and now the clean item is contaminated. And frankly, it's just a pain to clean these, so don't bother. All right, so I take my good old 70% alcohol spray bottle and my gross dirty pencil, and I spritz it, right? I want to hang out and I want to let that kind of evaporate and dry. And once that is evaporated, now I can take my pencil sharpener and I can put my pencil in and go ahead and sharpen the pencil. After I've sharpened it, I'm going to take my 70% alcohol again, and I'm going to remist my pencil. This is just a really good preventative measure, especially because let's say somebody else picked up this pencil sharpener and used it, but I don't know that. So that, again, means there's contamination in the pencil sharpener. Personally, after I sharpen a pencil, I actually go ahead and I mist my pencil sharpener down as well. If there's any gunk in it, like sometimes your eye pencil will actually leave some of the pencil tip in the sharpener blade, I will actually take a Q-tip and go ahead and dip the Q-tip in alcohol and clean that out first and then mist my pencil sharpener. It's just one more way you can kind of keep things clean and keep them sanitary. Okay, so now let's talk about your best friend when it comes to sanitization and working with your cosmetics, right? So again, these kits come with these little cream makeups, right? So cream is wet by nature. It's an oily substance, which means that it tends to hold on to bacteria more easily than a dry substance will. So with these cream palettes, I use a spatula. Oops, sorry, this is the spatula and this is the palette. This way you can scrape the cream makeup out and you can put it on the spatula, or on the palette, and go ahead and work off of the palette. The reason we do that is because it is much easier to take a disinfectant wipe or soap and water and clean this metal palette than it is to clean one of these little trays or clean out one of these little things and be absolutely certain that it's completely clean. right? At UNCG, we actually provide you with all of these palettes and little palette knives to use during class or to use during shows. It just makes it a little bit easier. And you'll also find that eventually, if you get into mixing colors and trying to create different looks, it's a little bit easier to work off of a palette than to try to work out of one of these little makeup trays. However, because these little containers do belong to you, and also because we are in this awesome online situation where I can't hand you these palettes and these spatulas, you might find that it's easier to continue to work out of your own little makeup tray, your own little makeup palette. That's fine, because these should never be touching anyone's face but yours. And let me just repeat that again and again and again. These should never touch anyone's face but yours if you ever put a sponge or do anything like that in them. However, like I said, you want to sanitize, even if it touches only your own face ever, you do want to sanitize these. So again, trusty 70% alcohol, your little spray. You can wipe these out with a tissue and you can mist them with the 70% alcohol. Leave them open until the alcohol evaporates off and then cover them. That will sanitize your makeup. Okay, so now let's talk about sanitizing powder makeups, right? This includes loose powders, although you most often won't have to sanitize those because you can just shake them out of the container onto a separate surface. So you really shouldn't have to ever do that. But also pressed powders, eyeshadows, powder blushes, things like that. So I have here one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes, and here's what I do. Again, with my trusty 70% alcohol. I'm going to take this and I'm just going to hold it a little distance away, and I'm just lightly misting, right? I'm not soaking my eyeshadow, I'm just putting a mist of alcohol over the top. And then I can just leave this palette open, and while it's open, the alcohol is going to evaporate off, and once it's all dry, I can shut the palette and everything has been cleaned and sanitized. A lot of people complain that if they do this alcohol misting over their eyeshadow palettes and things like that, that it changes the texture and they don't like what it does to the eyeshadow palette. I think that means that they're probably using way too much alcohol. Like, you're soaking it at that point. And yes, if you soak it in alcohol, it is going to change the overall texture of the shadow eventually, especially if you do it regularly. If you're just lightly misting, like I just showed, your eyeshadows are fine. They'll totally survive this, and frankly, better safe than sorry. Do you really want pink eye? I doubt it. So that's what I'm trying to just make really clear, is that this kind of sanitization, I do this to my own cosmetics that only ever touch my face. I do this to my entire professional makeup kit. Because I am a professional makeup artist, we have to actually make sure that everything we have is really clean and sterilized and washed and taken really well care of. So we do a lot of deep cleaning. It's pretty much a weekly deep cleaning. If it's a really heavy job, it's a daily deep cleaning. So I'm not saying you all have to do a daily deep cleaning on your personal Ben Nye makeup kit, but I am suggesting that you think about how often you touch your face and all of the different surfaces you come into contact with during the day, and all of the things that you could potentially be transferring onto your skin or into your eyes or around your mouth, and go ahead and just spray that makeup down, right? All right. If you feel unsure about how to sanitize something, but you know that you want to, ask me. Go ahead and email me and ask me how to do it, because I am happy to tell you. Same with when we're back on campus and in the halls, just ask me. All right, that is makeup hygiene and sanitation. I hope you find this helpful.